What's going on, guys? Okay, back with you another video. Hopefully this sounds better because I got my mic set up, finally kind of figured it out. I was having some little difficulties, but hopefully this works out the best now. So the topic of this video is, should you rent your slingshot on Turo or should you rent your slingshot out, period? And my answer to this question, because I see it a lot of times on the groups and the forums, people who want to start their slingshots, who want to do rental business for it and things like that, and for whatever reasons people want to do it, I'm going to give you the honest answer. And the answer to that is, hell no. Don't ever rent your slingshot on Turo or any other platform. Okay, and people are going to say, why not? You know, it's a good way of making money. Okay, so here's the thing. The reason why I have two slingshots was I was considering renting my own Turo, and after doing some research after I bought the slingshots and seeing how people treat the slingshots, it is the absolutely best decision I made in my life not to rent out my slingshots, because I'm telling you what, if you think you're going to rent your slingshot out and be making lots of money and it's going to be awesome and things like that, or it's going to be great, I'm telling you now, it's going to be nothing but headaches. And let me tell you why you should not rent your slingshot out on Turo or any other place. First of all, most of the people who rent their slingshot out on Turo and things like that is because they're trying to find a way to keep their payments, because they've gotten to a situation where they have overpaid for their slingshot, or they have bought a slingshot and then, what's that noise? Some in the bushes over there. But anyway, okay. If I start to run, guys, it's because there's something over there making noise and kind of creeped out a little bit, but I'm gonna continue. Okay, so as I was saying, a lot of people who rent their slingshots on Turos because they can't afford their payments, and they figure this is the best way to pay off their slingshot or keep their payments up by renting it out to kind of offset the price of the slingshot that they bought. And let me tell you what, it is still a bad idea, because first of all, if you have to rent your slingshot on Turo to keep up with your payments, then you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. I would suggest, if you're in that situation, either you try to sell it or you just keep it and get another job. I mean, it's up to you. Another reason why you should never, ever rent your slingshot on Turo or any other platform is because, okay, for instance, I got my 2015 or 2020 slingshot. It gets in an accident. The thing is, like, the waiting to get it fixed takes a long time. Recently, I had my slingshot rear-ended. I will tell you about that story later. But let's just say that if I was renting my slingshot out and things like that, and that would have happened, the time it takes for you to get it fixed will take a long time. So picture this. Say you got your slingshot on Turo, you're renting it out, and then something happens. Say they hit the front skirt or something like that, or they break a wheel or a fender or whatever could happen. It will take months to get it fixed. First of all, you got to wait on the part. That takes months. Then you got to wait until you can find a time in a shop that's going to be to do it, to fix it, because there's only certain specialty shops that can work and fix and repair slingshots. And then you have to wait until they have an opening. And then when they have an opening, it might take a few more weeks. While all that time that is going on, you still have to make your payments. And basically, you're making the payment on a slingshot that you can't ride or you can't make money off of. So at the end of the day, you're screwing yourself over. Another reason that you should never rent your slingshot on Turo is because, yes, they do have their insurance policy. Yes, they do have a thing where if something was to happen, they will pay it. But let me tell you, it's a headache to get that done. And number two, if your insurance company finds out, your personal insurance company finds out that you've been renting your slingshot out, they will drop you like a bad habit. I'm telling you. They will drop you in a quickness. I wasn't even renting my slingshot out and it got in an accident. And it wasn't even the person who had it fault. But my insurance company found out about it and they still dropped me. So I'm just telling you now, if you plan on renting your slingshot and you keeping your current insurance, personal insurance on it, they'll drop you if they find out. And they will find out somehow. Either they go on Turo and find it or they'll go on Facebook or whatever reason. So that's another reason why you should never rent your slingshot on Turo. Another reason why you should not rent your slingshot on Turo is because, how can I put this? Okay, I love my slingshot, okay? I love my slingshot. I would go bananas if something was to happen to my slingshot. For people who rent their slingshots out, to me, they really don't care about it. Now, it's one thing if you got a slingshot and you're doing this for business and there's no personal to it. So if they wreck your slingshot, you're like, okay, well, it was an accident, get it fixed, whatever. But if you really enjoy your slingshot, you really love your slingshot, you literally like riding your slingshot, you like being in the community, the friends and all that stuff like that, and you rent your stuff out, people are not going to take care of it like you do. People are not going to drive it and ride it like you do. They're going to tear it up. I'm telling you, they're going to destroy it. They're going to run through your gears. They're going to do so much damage to your slingshot. And then you get it back, and then when you want to enjoy a ride, you can't because it's been trashed. So I'm telling you now, don't rent your slingshot out because to me, if you got your slingshot on Turo, you don't care about it. That's just me. It's just me. It's almost like I just can't do it. Me personally, I can't do it. And the last reason why you should never rent your slingshot on Turo or any other platform is those type of situations when you're renting your stuff out. You're depreciating the value of your slingshot, the miles, the wear and tear. It's one thing that if you ride your slingshot and you drive it and you put your own wear and tear, but it's another thing for somebody else to do it. And if you ever decide to sell it or if you ever decide to, take it back to a dealership, if they find out, the seller or the people you're trying to trade into find out that you've had this on Turo, they will offer you even lower for what you're asking for, because in their minds it's kind of like you buying, okay, it's like this, right? If you go to Hertz or Enterprise, a rental car company, and then say you go to CarMax, okay? If someone says, hey, I'm going to buy a car, if they go to Hertz or any of the places, like rental places, and people know that rental cars get trashed, they get ran through, they get, abused. And yes, in CarMax, you might have somebody who abused, but the thing about it is that most of those cars that people at CarMax are their personal cars. It's their cars that they've had their trading in, that they've taken care of, that they have babied or whatever. But the people at the rental car place, they don't care. They just make sure the oil change and that's it. Other than that, you're on your own. And you won't get a better price if you decide to sell your slingshot or whatever, trade it in, if they find out that you rented it out or things like that. So the only thing I can say to this, if you really watch this video and you really want to rent your slingshot out, especially Turo, I suggest that you have at least 3 slingshots in your fleet, at least 3. Because if for some reason something happens to one, you have another one to either give to the person that's renting it out, or that you have 2 other slingshots that are being 2 other slingshots that could be renting out and still make up for the one that's either broke or something happens to it or whatnot. Also, too, you should, if you're going to rent it out, make sure you get commercial insurance. It's not impossible, but it's really hard to get. But if you can get commercial insurance, that will definitely help you in the rental business. Now, the people I've seen who've been successful at it, one guy I knew in Georgia, he was actually partnered with the local Polaris dealership, and they actually gave him a bunch of Polaris slingshots to rent out. So he had a huge fleet of slingshots and things like that. So, and he did really good business. I mean, made plenty of money. But if you are a person and you're thinking, you watch these people who are sitting there renting their slingshots out, and they're showing you all the good times and look at all the money they make and look at all the fun they having and all the slingshots they got, let me tell you what, behind closed doors, it's a headache. It is a pain in the ass because they have a lot of problems, and because they don't show you those problems, they kind of trick people into thinking that running a Turo slingshot business is going to be great, but really, it really doesn't. And the thing is this, the only people who really make it in there also too is people who are tourist attractions, like Galveston or Myrtle Beach or Daytona, things like that, places like that, they do make good money renting their slingshots. But if you live in Iowa or if you live in New Hampshire, you're not going to make any money doing it. I'm telling you now, you're not going to make any money. You'll have a couple people that might do it, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be profitable enough for you to continue to do that and continue to buy slingshots without going to debt. So I'm telling you now, don't, for the love of God, do not rent your slingshot on Turo or any platforms. I'm telling you now, if you care about riding, if you care about your slingshot, if you care about having a good time and being proud of the vehicle that you own, then don't do that. But if you're watching and you still want to do it, hey, I'll support that too. Regardless of whatever I think, I will always support my brothers and sisters in the slingshot community. But I'm trying to warn you, that's all. My goal is to be that voice of reason. So when you think about doing something, you can say, well, let me watch him and see what he has to say, and hopefully I make sense. But if I don't make sense, or that you really, really want to do it, I'll support that too. So guys, with that, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully this sounds better. And if you have any questions or any advice or any questions that you want to, if you want to do Turo or not or whatever, hit me in the comments. I will answer everybody's question. So guys, with that, I'm out of here. Peace.